first segment. Good Tuesday morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2G1C Red, White, and Blonde podcast right here on the America First Media and Television Network. We are extremely excited today to bring you Mel K. If you don't know who she is, you're about to, and you better start following her. She is an author. She is a conservative podcaster. And we'll talk about the dates and times because I know your times have changed, Mel. But she wrote a book. The first one was America Betrayed 1944 to 54. Oh, that's this one, Infiltration Instead of Invasion. That's the one we really want to get into because that's kind of goes through the most consequential time in our history that I think many people don't know about, Mel. And I'm one of those. So I'm going to say I've only learned from you what is really occurring here, and I am beyond almost shocked that more people don't know about this. So first of all, thank you for joining us on our show here. We really do appreciate it. Maureen, if you want to take over now, and then we'll let Mel just tell us this story because it's incredible to me.
Yes. Hi, Mel. Welcome. I am Maureen. I have been following you for a long time. And recently you were on the Tony Shaffer show. I've been on his show several times. Mm-hmm. He's great. Fantastic. And we have about 30 minutes with you today. And I just loved how you went through your book with him and gave a great example of what is going on. I have said this many times on our show and other shows I've been on that we have never been able to be invaded as a country because we have the oceans and we have this protection, but we have had a slow drip of an invasion. And in your book, it shows that it's been happening for a very long time. So go in and let's talk about this. It's the post-World War II infiltration and the banking system. I think I'm a Wall Street girl. I worked on Wall Street. I was in the hedge fund industry. I was at Bear Stearns. I saw a lot of devils in my day, let's just say.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I saw a lot. So, I want to talk about the banking industry, the Dulles brothers, and you did a great job of giving this synopsis on Tony Shaffer. So let's hear it. Thank you, Mel, so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. And I was shocked, too. Honestly, I had been touring for quite a while, talking about the country and the global public-private partnership and what I call the international banking cartel. And I would always start my speeches with the JFK 1961 speech to the press. If people thought that what is happening with the press and the president is new, it is not. And JFK felt it necessary to address the press in 1961. And what he said in that speech should have woken up the country, but unfortunately it did not. And what he warned about was that there was a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy trying to destroy our country from within. He said infiltration instead of invasion, subversion instead of elections, intimidation instead of free choice, and guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. And I was repeating this often, and I was thinking, people just dismiss it as he's talking about communism, but what does that even mean, at this point? What are we dealing with? They've changed the definition, who the enemy is, so many times. So I said, I'm going to dig into exactly what he was looking at and thinking when him and I assume his brother wrote that speech with their speechwriters. And what I found was so disturbing because purposely the United States of America has been kept in the dark from a very long infiltration. Of course, the first betrayal of the United States Republic was the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve was under what I call the treasonous Wilson administration.
Wilson, yeah.
Yes. And not only did Wilson bring in the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor a reserve, and the IRS in tandem with, of course, the UK, essentially, but at the same time, he brought in progressivism, and we've been sold for now decades the managed decline and controlled demolition of America as some sort of progress. It is not progress. It was never meant to be progress. So as I dug in, I really realized that something was created in the years that America was celebrating a win for the Allies in World War II, that something else was going on that we were not being told about purposely, and then we was basically hidden from history by the same people. So you kind of have to realize what I'm going to say right now is a offshoot of the same exact families and banking bloodlines that infiltrated America with the Federal Reserve. And, they came in. My feeling is that the Crown did not accept the American Revolution as we did.
Right.
That they kind of said, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. Come home, and we're going to infiltrate them through the banking system. And then that led to infiltration through the railroads. And this went on and on. But what people should know is that after World War I, and World War I is sketchy as it is, but many people remember Smedley Butler, the general, coming out after World War I with his book where it was War is a Racket. All wars are bankers' wars. And this is after World War I. So at that time, the United States worked together with international groups and banks to create the Bank of International Settlements as a depository for reparations from World War I to rebuild Europe. Well, that is not what happened at the Bank of International Settlements. What really happened there, and I would say the damage that started to escalate from there, was that two international lawyers, actually it would be John Foster Dulles and his brother Alan Dulles, were Wall Street lawyers. That's the first thing you have to understand, that our entire State Department and intelligence apparatus built right after World War II was built by Wall Street lawyers, okay? Because we're still dealing with the same stuff today.
And one of them became head of the CIA.
And then was on the Warren Commission. Yeah, go ahead.
After Kennedy.
It's so crazy. So what happened during those years was they were, both Dulles brothers were lawyers at Sullivan and Cromwell on Wall Street. And they represented the beginning of the multinational corporations. So while they were representing Standard Oil of New Jersey, which is the Rockefellers, they were also doing deals between Standard Oil of New Jersey and IG Farben, which was the biggest conglomerate, pharmaceutical, military company in Germany, essentially. They were also working with American companies and German steel and American companies and other German companies. So they were already doing this multinational global partnership, kind of creating the infrastructure for that. Well, while they're doing that, and it was John Foster Dulles was the main lawyer for all those Rockefeller, IG Farben things, Rockefeller put hundreds of, now it would be hundreds of millions of dollars. At the time, I believe it's 30 million into the Bank of International Settlements and all of this infrastructure post World War I. Well, what they were actually doing was funding and rebuilding the army to support Hitler in World War II. If you really look at all the transactions and what they were dealing with, this was a global operation of rebuilding Europe through Germany that actually rebuilt the German military and industrial entire apparatus. So then what we're told, so at the same time, Alan Dulles is also a lawyer from Wall Street. Now he's running the OSS in Switzerland. And we were told, of course, our whole lives, Sound of Music, that Switzerland was neutral.
It's neutral.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Switzerland was not neutral. Switzerland was creating an international, supranational architecture that encompassed not only international banking above nations, but frankly, an entire apparatus of organizations, NGOs, development banks above nations as well. So what was happening at this point was they knew full well that they were taking sovereignty away from nations through an international banking conglomerate system. And, a lot of people don't know that Bretton Woods, which created the IMF and the World Bank, Bretton Woods meeting was 6 days, I believe, after D-Day. So the war is still raging.
The end of World War II. This is crazy.
Right. The war's still raging. I mean,
Yes.
it's at its worst phase. And the bankers in Switzerland and the international bankers go to New Hampshire and design the future of international banking, essentially, where there is no way out. And what they did after that was two Wall Street lawyers, they got together and they created.
I'm sorry, Phil, can we skip our first break? Because we only have 30 minutes with Mel. Okay,
No,
so
we're
not
going to go
taking a break for our
commercial free
first
for you.
segment.
Ooh,
Yep,
la,
we're not.
la, cool.
No. Yeah, we're good. We'll do it at the bottom of the hour. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. So what they did, and this is where the sovereignty of the United States of America, I believe, was sold out almost completely. What they did was they gave themselves immunity before this hit prime time, before the American people even had time to breathe, and still don't know this. So the Bank of International Settlements was voted to close during Bretton Woods, but it didn't. Okay, so that tells you that nobody has jurisdiction over that bank. Okay, first of all, they have complete and total immunity. Even Switzerland doesn't have the ability to go into the Bank of International Settlements on its own soil. You cannot audit them. You cannot look at their files. You cannot look at their meeting notes. You cannot look at anything. The Bank of International Settlements essentially is a sovereign, immune, gigantic bank, and the biggest in the world. That is the bank of the central banks. But they go forward, as good Wall Street lawyers do, and give themselves immunity, not just for the Bank of International Settlements, but for the IMF, the World Bank, and 63 other banks connected to them. Total immunity since 1945 continues to this day for all of those international banks. At the same time, John Foster Dulles is involved in writing the Treaty for the United Nations, which, of course, is a global governance model. After World War I, this is the model that I see them using and that they're trying to use or have been now, which is these international banks and multinational corporations that now make up the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower, of course, famously warned about. Not only is it supranational, but it is functioning on our soil, much of it, with full immunity and no U.S. jurisdiction over their entities on U.S. soil. So John Foster Dulles helped write the treaty, and that started in San Francisco, the United Nations. The first try at a world government was, of course, the League of Nations, but that was explicitly a world government. And the United States rejected it. So they changed all the legalese to create the United Nations. And then they extended the immunity that they gave their banking system that they created to the United Nations and 76 tentacles of the United Nations, all still to this day. So the United States of America has been involved in the International Organization Immunity Act of 1945, in all of these organizations, 76 UN connected and NGOs, and 63 banks connected to the IMF, World Bank, and BIS, all have almost complete immunity. No audits, no investigations, no legal challenges, no looking at their books, and you can't even walk onto their premises. Even the IMF and World Bank are in Washington, D.C. The United States has no jurisdiction over these buildings or their employees on our soil.
Can I ask you, Mel, because we have such limited time, I have so many questions. But you have said in previous interviews that you feel that President Trump, the best thing he did was get rid of USAID.
Yes.
USA.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because we're all,
absolutely.
We really are, Dale is all about solutions here. So I want to give him some solutions.
I need one.
And there's a lot of solutions, because a lot of this not only violates the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, but it's a betrayal of the people of the United States of America, particularly the taxpayers that I believe in this infrastructure were set up not just to pay for the reconstruction of Europe, which we did through the fraudulent Marshall Plan, but also to pay for all of it. If you look at it, the controlled demolition of America was planned, I believe, long, long ago. And the idea of using the taxpayer dollars of the United States citizen, which only 47% of us pay taxes at all, was, I believe, allocated to this international global public-private partner infrastructure of endless war for profit, where the money is made during the reconstruction after. Now, after World War II, you should know this. So the Dulles brothers set all this up. Then they walk into the two highest unelected positions in the United States of America. The State Department, John Foster Dulles is the head of state, and the head of the CIA, his brother Allen Dulles. It is my belief from 1953 forward, when those two men walked into those two positions, that the State Department and the CIA, and then, of course, during that time, the Five Eyes nations happened. MI6 and CIA are obviously connected. We have the German intelligence under Hitler is swallowed into the CIA by Allen Dulles over in West Germany. We have Operation Paperclip. We have all these things going on that the American people don't know about. And at the same time, they're over there. John McCloy went over to Germany to kind of be the lead emissary in Germany for the Allies. Well, he had a man come over there too. His name was Draper. And Draper was looking around for, at this point, they're all high and mighty. The United States is coming out to them as the hero, the superhero of the world. Let's keep going with this model. So they look around, and Draper suggests the USAID. So people don't know this because AID they think, has something to do with aid. It doesn't. It is international development. What it is soft power in foreign countries. So any nation that is not going along with the architecture that they built above nations. So this is the banking, the NGOs, international organizations that are immune above all of our countries, including ours. Draper said that we needed some kind of soft power on the ground, i.e. infiltration to sway regime. So regime change or financial change, or don't forget the model of the IMF is to give loans to people that they can't pay and then seize their assets of their nation and their banks and everything. So all of this became essentially a racket of intimidation, manipulation, and subversion to push foreign nations to basically accept the future of the world that was being built with America forced into the front, the NATO alliance, all of this stuff. So USAID is really about infiltrating foreign nations through uprisings, protests, color revolutions, giving money to opposition parties, arming opposition parties for nations that are not willing to give up their sovereignty. And at this point, we really have to look at the idea that before Hitler surrendered, they got together and they funneled as much money out of Nazi Germany as possible, billions and billions and billions of dollars that were looted and laundered and stolen from 60 million people whose lives were destroyed by World War II. Well, that money got out before there was a surrender. And much of that money, if you look at the CIA D-Class Red House papers, was funneled through the Bank of England and the City of London, but also the Vatican Bank, through Argentina and offshore places, and much of it came into the United States, and so they were creating with that money to hide it. Subsidiaries of German companies and multinational corporations, but also shell companies. They were funding NGOs at this time. Also, the Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, MacArthur Foundation, and the Carnegie Institute were Operation Paperclip is the scientists, Nazi scientists that they swore we needed because, forget their past, whatever, we need them because if we don't take those scientists, Russia will. So we have, Warner von Braun running NASA, our Jet Propulsion Lab, Manhattan Project, all Nazi scientists. What hasn't been told is that many Nazi professors, propagandists, behavioral science, MK Ultra people. Remember, this is going on all over Nazi Germany. They are being brought in too, under new names, with their whole families, with their total ideology, and they are being put into academia. They are being put into our gigantic and very fraudulent NGOs. They are being put into the Rockefeller Institute and to the, Harvard. And all of this is happening under the guise of this handful of people. There's a great book called The Wise Men that goes through it. This handful of people that really do not believe that nation states should exist, and they'll let the American people and the rest of the nations that would like to remain sovereign to believe they are sovereign. But the truth is, they have not been since 1953. And
so, Mel, can I ask you, is this what Kennedy was talking about in his speech in 1961? He knew this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And don't forget, the other model that came in with the Dulles brothers was that when our government, particularly intelligence, commits crimes, whether it's in America or overseas, or, uses the responsibility to protect of the UN to go into Libya or anywhere else, or expanded NATO in Yugoslavia for no reason, and then continued, we have to understand the endless war for profit model is real, and that this international infrastructure was built off of it. So when we come to that, then you have to understand the next goal is global infrastructure, global everything, global warming, global finance, global this.
Davos, Davos, the World Health, the World Economic Summit,
all of it, all of it. Bilderberg.
I did a show on Davos where Trump really went in there and kind of told them, no, we're not, he took us out, and Bassett did the same thing, and same thing with the World Economic Forum. And, people are shocked to realize like Davos is just a big NGO factory, always has been. And we have unelected world leaders who are members of Davos who spend $12,000 a night for a hotel room, drink champagne, tell all of us that we have to fly coach and, suck it up for climate control.
Yep.
Right.
And these NGOs, they're just, and that money is streaming everywhere but to the American people.
Well, and it's being used against the American people. Now, one thing that people have to understand is one of the players on U.S. soil that I believe has undermined the sovereignty and the will of the people, the voice, the vote for decades now is John Podesta. He runs something called the Center for American Progress. Again, they've been selling the United States the idea of the controlled demolition and gutting of America as progress for decades. The progressives. Well, now we see the progressives are the problem, and they are not progressives. They are actually European socialists. But John Podesta was involved in the writing of Agenda 2030 back
to get to that. Thank you for bringing
the
it up.
late 1990s. And then the Center for American Progress is the hub of Agenda 2030, is the hub of the Sustainable Development Goals, is the hub of the end of national sovereignty and nation states for global governance in America. In 2003, John Podesta, right off of basically being the head of the State Department under Bill Clinton, then he comes out, he joins up with George Soros in 2003, also a progressive international guy. And they kind of get together in 2003 to undermine the voice, the vote, and the will of the people over the next 50 years. They are both invested, I'm telling you, to the tune of trillions of dollars into the global governance model of Agenda 2030. Now, most Americans were not told in 2015 that Barack Obama signed the United States onto the Agenda 2030 and 17 Sustainable Development Goals without the consent, the will, the voice, the vote of the people, and without telling the people of the United States that this is a complete and total global governance model. The first entire piece of Agenda 2030 is that nation states can no longer succeed, that everything has to be under essentially global governance, because global problems mean global solutions. So where we are now with this is that John Podesta has now successfully made himself a key player in every presidency, including the auto pen of Joe Biden. And under the auto pen of Joe Biden, Neera Tanden, who's the president of Center for American Progress, and 72 other members of the Center for American Progress went into the Joe Biden auto pen administration and what I call the auto pen mafia. And $300 billion was allocated to John Podesta to spend, it appears, however he sees fit. And of course, it's going to all global climate, global this, global that. We don't know where that money went. What we do know is that our country has severely changed dramatically in a very short amount of time. And I believe that all of this is connected to the inevitable, what they've wanted, I think, since before World War II ended, a World War III on European soil for a third war for profit, essentially reconstruction after World War III on the European continent, hoping yet again, as the Third Reich did, to destroy Russia, give all of Europe, the rest of Russia and Russian resources, break up Russia, have a united Europe, essentially, that is the hub control of the global governance model out of Brussels and Geneva, using the City of London, Bank of England, Wall Street, and others as the international banking sector, but at the same time usurping the sovereignty, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our borders, language, culture for this global governance model. Now, the scary part now is that they have built the architecture that is global, that is technology-based. So now what is built in China is already built for the whole world, and it went on warp speed being built during the Auto Pen administration, which is why I cannot believe that we are not ripping apart the Auto Pen. There is no chain of custody I've seen no chain of custody that Joe Biden knew anything about anything he was doing. But what was happening is those executive orders that were dropped, I believe that they were written either somehow between Open Society and Center for American Progress, and probably now the Obama Foundation, which is very involved in the global takeover of the United States. Essentially, they have given themselves all of the leeway to go and build this international global public infrastructure. They worked with Gates and all of the big tech companies. Of course, we paid for them too. And they worked with everything to essentially create what is in China, which is full track and trace surveillance from birth to death of every man, woman, child, animal, natural resource, and watched over by algorithms and technology. So China right now is not a dictatorship or anything else. It's a technate. It is a full and complete technology-driven surveillance apparatus with social credit score, digital banking. They can disappear you. That is already built here because in those executive orders that dropped on day one, I think there were 40 executive orders. There was a lot of international technical infrastructure, ledgers, blockchains, all this stuff being built around us that the American people not only did not know about, but certainly did not vote for, that has no sovereignty piece of it. So where we are right now, in my opinion, first of all, the global coup against Donald Trump in the United States of America in 2016 was a global overthrow of the United States of America by the same people who have done it time and time again in foreign countries, in Europe, in Latin America, in Africa. The same people, the same players, I believe, straight out of the Dulles model of that has been going on. And that is where I think we find ourselves, is that they were not going to allow the American people to vote or to choose or to go a different route. Certainly not. They were not going to let Donald Trump be president. He wanted to normalize relations with Russia. He wanted to find out what was going on in Ukraine. He wanted to find out what was going on with China. This was not going to be allowed, and it wasn't allowed. And now we have to look at who was involved on U.S. soil in not only overthrowing and trying to overthrow and lawfaring and actually blocking the vote, the voice, and the will of the people in 2016 to 2020. But between 2016 and 2020, these same players did multiple things and had multiple groups that they, essentially said, we're done with America. We're going to spend these 4 years and we're going to get him out of there. And then we're going to go in warp speed to Agenda 2030. And I think trillions of U.S. taxpayer dollars have been invested in Agenda 2030. And we are right now at the cusp of, will we remain the constitutional republic? We are not a democracy. They have brainwashed people for decades.
Brainwashed everybody to think that.
Yeah,
Correct.
we're not. And we're not because our founders would never have allowed it, because democracy means 51% rule over 49. And that is exactly what you hear the DSA and the global socialists all talking about on U.S. soil as the future. Well, that is up to the people of the United States. But if they don't know what we're fighting, which they don't, then it's going to come in insidiously, and we're going to wake up in this kind of China gulag run by the 51% that claim that they're running our country.
Wow.
Wow. If that didn't start your morning off with
I don't know how it, go ahead.
With a kick in the rear end, I don't know what will. Mel, your book again is Infiltration Instead of Invasion, America Betrayed. I am midway through your book. It's fascinating. We would love to have you back because we have a ton of questions that we would like to discuss and talk about. So we will get with you and hopefully get you back. But as a Wall Street girl, as somebody who has seen stuff from the inside, I have a ton of stuff to talk about the Federal Reserve. People, and that's on American soil that people don't understand. But we thank you for this 30 minutes. We know you're busy, but everyone, we will put all of her information on our site where you can find her. And we're going to have you back. I'm going to have you commit that we can have you back.
1,000%. Please. But you guys, well, you didn't get to answer anything, but I want people to know I wrote this book, honestly, with the real documents, and you can read it at 17 or at 89, and it's readable. It's a quick read, but it'll walk you through it so that you are empowered. And like you said, you want solutions. First of all, the United States of America, we the people, still run this country for now. We are a constitutional republic. Do not allow people to continue to push the lie that we are a democracy that helps them win, A. And B, the people need to realize the war is not in D.C. D.C. is captured. The war is in your backyard. They've been infiltrating our backyards. So it's all hands on deck to save the constitutional republic. I mean, Ben Franklin wasn't messing around when he said a republic if you can keep it. And that means us, you and me and your audience. And we have a shot, but we have to understand what is happening right now is bigger than just the communists in America or the jihadis in America. This is the international banking cartel and global public-private partnership demanding that they keep the power that they stole from this nation. And we
for over 100 years. For us, over 100 years, they have had control over us. And it is, people think it's complicated and they don't want to listen to international banking, but it's not. It's happening. It's happened, and we do. And you're right. I love when you say it is up to us, and we have to take care of our own backyard. Washington's already done. They're successful, just as Donald Trump said in 2016. You know, this is why they hate him. This is why they want to kill him. This is why.
And all of us, because we want to be what we were promised. George Washington's farewell address matters, and people should go read it because that's what was undermined. Exactly what he told us to do. Wilson and his friends totally went a different direction, and we got to really understand our history because it's been hidden on purpose. So I just want you guys to know I'll come back anytime, and I now move my show, so it's 2 to 3:30. Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Rumble and X Live Eastern. And then, of course, I have shows on the weekend and stuff. But you guys are also welcome to come hang out with us anytime.
We watch you all.
We'd love to talk to you guys.
I would love to come on.
Totally focused.
Yeah,
we would. Absolutely. Thank you, Mel, again, so much.
Guys.
We really appreciate it. We look forward to watching you and having you back.
Thank you. Check out the melkshow.com. All the resources are there for the book. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, Mel.
Me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land. I've been there, I looked, I tried to see. Here I am in New York City, watching a nice sunrise. Not really. I'm in the warehouse. I'm telling you about a conservative organization, not the AARP loser, left wing, forget about it. This is where you need to be. You get everything conservative menus. America.us/EAFW.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW, making travel great again.
Hey Patriots, we're excited to bring to you Sugar Creek Goods, all natural quality skincare products brought to you by great patriots like we are here. That's why we brought this into the America First warehouse. All these great natural products are amazing, and you can get them on our website and go right to www.sugarcreekgoods.com/TAFW. These are phenomenal products. I love them all. And this one right here is for Patriot Pup. Thank you so much for supporting us.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
And welcome back. I am Maureen Enner, the Red, White, and Blonde, and Dale, my 2G1C. That was like a speed reading course in the last 100 years of an American takeover. And that is one of the reasons why I love Mel so much, that she brings very complicated international banking. And I studied finance, but I don't pretend, it's complicated. And the average person doesn't understand. And you hear international banking and then you just kind of tune out, but she brings it at a level that is so perfect, because she wants the American people, the average American person, to understand that this has happened. It started after World War I, and it continued through Clinton and Obama and then Biden. And those executive orders that were signed on day one were a huge factor in continuing this takeover of America to no longer be a sovereign nation, to be globalized. I would say, in my opinion, the Clinton administration really opened the door to globalization. That's when we heard everything had to be globalized. We had to open business with everyone, and it was globalization, and it was sold to us as an economic powerhouse, and we were going to be leading the world, and it's not what it was.
And the creation of NAFTA. Was part of that.
But it was much bigger than NAFTA.
It was, but it's just a part of the international commerce.
Yes,
let's just
but
say.
it was sold to us as a sense as we were going to be doing business all over the world, and we were going to be the leader. We were going to be the one in control. The U.S. was going to, and it ended up not being that. The U.S. lost all of manufacturing. That is when the Rust Belt and Detroit,
textile business, you name it.
Which all of those were already on shaky ground anyways, but it just wiped out all of our manufacturing, all of our American-made product, everything was globalization. And even finance became globalized, where all of these countries were now having brokerage firms and trading firms, and everything went global, not just manufacturing. And Trump, from his 2015 campaign, has talked about this. No other president. I saw Trump speak at CPAC in 2012, and it was the very first time I saw, and he wasn't running then. He was just speaking at CPAC. And that was the very first time I ever saw anyone break down what China is doing to us and was doing to us. And we know what he did in, 2016, and we know all of that. And this is why they hate him.
Yep.
This is why they want him assassinated. This is why they hate him. It's a global force.
Yes.
And Mel was absolutely right when she said the DSA, these progressives, they don't want us to have a sovereign nation. They want global leadership. They want unelected people to be in, which already there are unelected global elites that are running what we do.
Yes.
And I touched on Davos because I did a show on Davos and I did a show on the World Economic Forum. And Davos is just a very, very elite group of global leaders, non-elected, that are making decisions where our money goes.
Yes.
As taxpayers, and we have no say in it.
I've got a quick question for you then, because when I think about this and I think about the 100-year history, we've had, obviously, in that time frame, conservative presidents. We've had Reagan. We've had, you had Nixon, Ford, Reagan. You've had George Sr. You had George W.
They were globalists.
That's what I'm saying.
Globalists.
So including even someone like Ronald Reagan or
the Bushes, both Bush Sr. and Jr. were very much global centered. Very, very, very much.
Correct.
They were globalist leaders. And the thing that people don't understand is this world banking structure is very powerful.
It has to be.
Very powerful.
Of course. It's money.
I mean, it's more than money. They have you can't audit them, you can't go into them, you can't step. And that's a bank that's here in the US.
Who runs that?
Well, that bank that she referred to, that's on US soil. Let's just talk about the Federal Reserve, which we fund, which we are not allowed to know anything about.
Oh, the Fed is
and the Fed was founded by Woodrow Wilson at the same time. And JP Morgan, the real JP Morgan, is who made sure that the Fed is just to protect the banking system. It's not to protect us.
Yep.
It's not to protect a United States citizen who pays federal taxes on the Fed.
Nope.
It's not to protect us.
Nope.
The Fed is not there for us.
Does this sound like to you like that whole 13 family kind of theory? I mean, you and I may have.
What do you mean, like the Rothschilds and the
Rothschilds, the Rockefellers,
well, yeah, because Mel
DuPonts,
talked about that is the banking and then the railroad.
With the railroads.
And that was that. Yeah, it's absolutely the Rothschilds, JP Morgan, the Vanderbilts.
You have to dig deeper into the 13 family thing. If you haven't seen it, and I know you know about some of this, but it's just really weird how they're all connected to the industry, the banking, the chemicals, everything.
And they still are. They still are. It's still. Interesting. The World Economic Summit that was held in Munich last spring, I think it might have been in March, made big news. Scott Bessent was there. I don't know if Trump went. I can't remember if he went. He went to Davos. He might have gone. Anyways, Scott Bessent was there, and it made big news because Gavin Newsom was there.
Yep, correct. Oh, yeah.
And
I remember.
I did a show about this, and I pointed it out about Gavin Newsom is a governor. California is a state, not a sovereign nation.
Correct.
A governor should not be going to an event like the World Economic Forum and conducting business.
Correct.
That is kind of treading on the Logan Act, which the Logan Act is somebody who is conducting federal interest of some type.
Correct.
As not a federal leader. He's a governor of California.
John Kerry did it. There's been many people.
No, John Kerry did nothing compared to what Newsom did.
Well, I'm saying, but that he did do that. And it's like there's
not on a world
this Logan
stage.
Act crap.
This was a world stage. It was very obvious what he did. And he was trying to say, look, Trump may not want to do business with you, but I'll go back to California and we can get some of this. And it's all climate control, all this stuff that Trump was like, no, we're pulling out of this. We're not doing this. So I did a show on it. We talked about it. The Logan Act is never enforced. It's like one of the oldest.
That's what I'm saying. It never is. That was my point.
It's just very old. But Trump just came out, I'm sorry, Newsom just came out like last week that now he's going to be doing business with one of the climate control from the World Health Organization.
Nice.
And the thing that people need to understand is governor is not the president. You're the president kind of your own state. The closest thing to being a president is being governor, to be honest.
Correct.
But California is a state, not a sovereign nation. If you want to, you know, and the thing is too, is maybe everyone's saying he was running for president. He had nothing to run on. The state's a mess. You know, he was going in there to make deals.
Yes.
And it looks like he's made some type of a deal at that event.
That is
and Trump
crazy.
Went to this world. I think he went to the World Economic Forum, and he just said, "No, we're not doing it. We're not doing this." He pulled out. We're not doing this. And I don't know.
You think a lot of that has to do with Rubio, as well, and his.
Well, Rubio has nothing to do with. I mean,
No,
President Trump.
I'm talking about Rubio's knowledge of it.
No, I think Trump's pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think Trump is very knowledgeable in the international banking system and very knowledgeable of what Davos does and what the World Economic Forum does.
Okay.
I don't think Rubio, this is Trump's, you know, he's got a banking mind. He knows. And he had the authority and he went in there and said, we're not doing it. I don't know of another US president that's ever gone into Davos or the World Economic Forum and said, yeah, no, bye, we're not doing this. And Trump flew into Davos for one day, didn't spend $12,000 a night on a hotel room, and he flew out. And Scott Bessent stayed and you know, did the speeches and
did what Scott Bessent should.
And Hillary Clinton was at the World Economic Forum too. She was at the last one. Hillary Clinton was there, Newsom, and that is where AOC, they asked her those questions and she did the couldn't answer, didn't understand, I don't know. So they're all, just like what Mel said, these liberal progressives, they're all there for the money. It's where the money is. It's the U.S. tax money is going to these trillion-dollar organizations for climate or feeding the hungry children in Africa or whatever.
Or even even far-fetched, as we have found.
However they put it in a package, they put a bow on it, and we as Americans are supposed to feel good about it.
Yes.
But they are the biggest NGO factories in the world, both of these organizations, and that money just leaves, and then everybody else gets funded, and that's why Newsom is doing it, because he's going to get money. He wants money, and that's why they do it. It's nothing to do to help the United States at all.
Of course.
And that is why we do have to be grateful that Trump stopped USAID, because that was a huge money laundering scheme with international banking ties.
So I guess so now Trump stops at USAID. We found out everything that they say it was going to.
And who argued it? The progressive liberals.
Of course, the progressive liberals argued it. So you knew.
They're still trying to use it against the Trump administration that we are now causing kids in Africa to be starving and not have medicine.
And people dying of AIDS and all this other stuff. Like
none of that was going to any of
it anyways. Yeah, which we knew. Thank God he did that. So my question is then, and not a solution question, so you could think that I guess the question and or fear is that there are bigger players than one man, one president. There are bigger players on this. This to me is the true deep state. When they talk about a deep state, is what I found out from Mel K and listening to you and your knowledge on it is that is the true deep state to me, not the infiltration of allowing. That to me is the distraction.
Yeah, but really remember what she said too. DC is already gone.
Yes.
So we could look at the deep state in that.
You could
DC.
Look in just that. I agree.
I don't think of the deep state outside of our borders in the international banking community. I think that's a globalized front that is so much bigger than I think what the deep state. I think of the deep state as being in our own borders, and I think of the deep state as Washington, D.C.
I think of it much larger than that. Then I guess and I always have. I've always thought there are people that are controlling.
Well, there's tentacles, of course.
Of course.
But
of course,
this is why I believe Prince Charles came to D.C. to visit.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was a much bigger message in that Trump's going to cut off the British crown, the banking. And I think that is all the reason why we're seeing Iran taking the oil, the Western civilization. I think there is a much bigger plan, and it's going to start with cutting off the British crown, because as Mel said, they never wanted us to be free from them. And they sent the people over to build the banks and the railroads, and they could still have. That is a huge. That's why William McKinley was assassinated, because he was the first tariff president.
Yeah,
and that was the first. That was the first breakaway from the British crown, and they didn't like that. And that was the very first president that said, "Okay, we're gonna implement tariffs now. We're not gonna just trade with the UK and not get anything back from it." He was assassinated, and then Teddy Roosevelt became president, and that was when America really started on the American Industrial Revolution, and but we didn't really keep the tariffs. And Trump came in and implemented the tariffs, and that is a way that he's trying to get away from. He really wants to get away from the British crown. And it's not the crown, it's their banking system.
It's their banking system. Okay. All right. Which, that's makes perfect sense after hearing.
And that is why I think King Charles, I'm sorry, I said Prince Charles.
Yeah, I know.
That is why I think King Charles came to visit back in the spring, was, I think,
to assure or to beg or to discuss that.
Not that the king has any, the king doesn't have any power. It's Parliament. It's but the House of Lords, right before that visit, they came out and they expressed concern that this was going to happen, and and we've got the Swiss banks and the German banks. They're like the three heads of the snake.
Wow.
And he's going to stop, and that's why, because we are truly a sovereign nation, and we are not a sovereign nation when international banks are controlling so much of what we do. Very interesting what you said about China. I had forgotten that part. It's what we're doing here. We're all digital. Everybody knows everything about us.
Correct.
We're tracked from the morning we get up to the morning, everywhere we go, flock camera, she's right. We need to know. We need to see that executive order. What did it say? Who? Because Joe Biden did not understand.
Of course not. Yeah. So, and it makes perfect sense when she was talking about Podesta. And of course, we all knew Barack Obama's involvement. The Agenda 2030 thing, which I think nobody paid attention to in 2015.
Well, they only wanted to talk about 2025, the agenda. I mean,
I know. I know from the Heritage Foundation who put out I know
that's all we heard about.
Yep.
And speaking of Joe Biden, what is it? Jake Tapper? Todd?
Yes.
I always get his name, Jake Tapper.
Jake Tapper.
Jake Tapper, he wrote a book about Biden, and he's doing a series of podcasts. I'm not sure who's interviewing him, but I've been listening to them sporadically. It's very interesting. He's really coming out with a lot about how bad Biden was physically, health-wise.
Yeah.
He's really, really giving some. It's pretty the details that he's giving about how from going all the way back to like 2015, where he showed very strong signs of not being healthy, having not thought process.
But that aggravates me and that angers me to the point of, you knew this. They knew this.
They all, it was huge.
They all knew
But if you look at Project 2030, if you look at this globalization, if you look at Davos and the world, all these, the UN, they had to put somebody like that in power so that they could get these executive orders that are now creating
Yep.
you know, the things that Mel talks about. So it's all a plan. These things just don't happen. Interesting too, when she talked about China, how they want to control. Is that why Trump came out and said they were involved in our elections? They've been involved in,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
you know, so it's not like Trump's not doing
I agree.
things. But you know what? I always go back to this. Elon Musk was interviewed recently, and they asked him, well, why'd you stop Doge? And he said, because we can't fight the government. It's too big. Can't do it. And he said that's why in a relatively short amount of time, the government will be run by AI. There won't be humans because it's too much fraud, too much, you know, it's too big and they can't monitor it. And humans are just, you know, making mistakes or fraud or, and I've always thought about that. Like he basically told us what we all have been thinking, that the government is too big, too fraudulent, too scary, too much power. One person stands up, they disappear. We don't know where they are.
Correct.
And I think it makes perfect sense that one day the entire federal government will be run by AI. It'll all be computerized. Well, and I'm all for that, to be honest.
You look at the fraud that has been discovered already throughout the last couple of years, right? That we from citizens
in the last 6 months.
So what? And so you look at that and you're like, nothing happens to these people. Nothing is, and we know this. We know the low level people maybe get, you know,
but I keep
happens. But
I have to go back to what Elon said. Like the government is too big.
I get that. That's what I'm saying. It's a good
too
point.
Scary, too powerful.
And is that why?
Well, we got all these bad people that are protecting.
Yeah.
You know.
Are we doing 90 minutes today, or are we doing just 60?
It's up to you.
We got more to talk about if Bill can hang
Yeah.
out.
No, we can. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to keep going.
Yeah, I would too. So we got about 50 seconds before the break.
Okay.
Yep. So my question is always going to be, one election could reverse everything.
Well, it has. We have had that. We have had that election.
We had that.
We had it now in 24. No, we had. Well, but I thought you were going to go on the positive. We had the election in 24.
Oh no! I went to the negative. Sorry.
Okay.
I went to the negative. Like that's the importance of.
So
all
we
these
understand now.
Elections.
We even but we understand even the illegitimacy of that election and why and what they were able to do.
And what makes me mad about journalists who knew this and wouldn't say it out loud, you know, because it's so big and scary.
I think most journalists don't even understand the.
Well, I agree. The
concept
of auto pen guy, but we got 3 seconds. We will be right back with more after this.
Beneath the Texas sky, I can rope and ride like daddy, and I never ever cried. But now the world's a-changing, girls must cover up to their eyes. Don't wanna be sold to some old man, I'd really rather die. So just go home. Just go home. Just go home. Sharia law's not welcome over here. Just go home. Take your medieval rules and stick them in your ear. Just go home. Your Sharia law will never rule our land. Just go home. We've got the Second Amendment to help you understand. Just go home. Just go home. Just go home. Take your hijabs back, better pack your burqas too. Just go home. God's blessed Texas and the other 49 too. Just go home. Don't Sharia my Texas, just go miss her, not half as much as me. She cried so when I left her, it nearly broke my heart. And if I ever find her, we never more will part. Oh, the yellow rose of Texas that I'm gonna see. Nobody else could miss her, not half as much as me. She cried so when I left her, it nearly broke my heart. And if I ever find her, we never more will part. Just go home. Don't Sharia my Texas, just go home. Don't Sharia my Texas, just go home. Don't Sharia my Texas, just go home.
And welcome back to 2G1C, Red, White, and Blonde, America First News Network. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And I'm just going to wrap up this Mel K episode with, first of all, we want to have her back because I have a
That
lot
wasn't
of
even
questions.
close to enough.
Yeah.
Time.
I have a lot of questions being working on Wall Street, the majority of my career, seeing a lot. Like I said, I saw a lot of devils in that industry.
Yep.
And for the American citizen to understand that she was absolutely right. Washington's gone, but we have to worry about our own backyard.
Yep.
What we can do, educate ourselves, understand, vote, not fall for the progressive agenda, the globalization, everything. That is all about them. It's not about us. Never has been. The liberal progressive agenda in this country has never been about us. The whole, even if we go back to the welfare state, and that was all pushed to help, but everybody else that did need the help made the money. Politicians, corrupt politicians. I mean, we're seeing that today too.
Yes.
All of this USAID, all of it. It was all meant to, it's sold to us as to help others, when in the long run, it's making corrupt people rich.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we need to be aware of that. Follow Mel K, follow us. We'll have all of the information of how you can watch her show and where she's been. And we will have her back and hone in on some of these specifics, because it is a very complicated subject when you start talking about World War I, international banking, CIA, John Kennedy. You know, sometimes
there's a
people
lot.
you
to
blur
unpack.
over that, but she puts it in a very, very constructive, easy to understand format. And I am reading her book. It is very easy to read. And that's, you know.
And you know what I think, and we talked about it briefly, why I think that people are what they would say over that, or they're not discussing it. It's because we have uneducated, uninformed voters, adults in this, and infiltrated through the college system and academia, like she had talked about. I always wondered where that started from and where did that all come from. And when you're
The
bringing
Nazi regime.
when you're bringing over fascist regimes to teach your youth, it
changed their
snowballs.
names, gave them new
Yes,
identity,
you didn't know any of that.
and brought them into the United States. And
Fascinating.
they became scientists, worked at NASA, the Marshall
Jet Propulsion
Plan,
Lab. I mean,
our professors and teachers. I mean,
yes.
I really wonder if this is what McCarthy knew.
I think so. Now that now you look back on it, right, and you're thinking, boy, you go through all those hearings and all those Senate hearings they had and all that. I'm thinking he had to have known that.
And John F. Kennedy, in his speech in 1961, this is what he said. This is where she got her idea for the book. The book is titled after his speech. And, you know, we all know what happened to Kennedy. And Trump has had 3 assassination attempts. Reagan had an assassination attempt. I don't know. Was he trying to stop globalization? We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
where do we go from here, Maureen?
Very interesting.
At this point, local elections matter. So it does. Like the local. And when you say that Washington's dead, and you have to fight for your own backyard, you are talking about your own communities and your own state and your own, like, these local elections here matter. And I don't care from janitor all the way up to your governor. These things matter.
I think the best thing we can tell our listeners are for them to share Mel K, share it on their socials.
Thank you.
Every listener who cares about this, and I know there are thousands of you out there.
Yep.
Follow Mel, put her on your socials. Pass that around to people. Get the word out. That is where we have to start.
If you think nobody's listening, it doesn't matter. Keep passing it out. You have to get that out.
Yes, you have to be able to spread her message. Yeah. And this is why social media, podcasting, what Dale and I are doing is so important, because the major networks are not talking about this. Correct. And they're not going to. They're owned by powerhouse people that they're just not going to have this get out.
Correct.
And so that is the number one thing we can do, is the power of the person, the power of the citizen. Just like we did in 2016 to get Trump elected, just like what we did in 2024 to get him elected, we did the same thing. It is about us. We cannot let these people tell us we don't have the power to make the decisions for our country.
Correct.
We have to remember that. And I think that's where we start. We start spreading these stories, getting it out there. And there's thousands of people that can start to do that today.
Yes, you're right. Very good point. Thank you again, Maureen, for your education.
Nerdiness, my political nerdiness.
I mean, thank you for being geeky and stuff. That really helps me out here. No, I'm only kidding. I appreciate the fact that you have that knowledge. And
I don't know why, like, world history, politics always interests me, even as a kid. Like, it was just something.
Yeah, politics always has, and history has. It's the history I didn't know, which is really starting to get this particular thing, and the deeper portion of the history, and where did it really all begin, and that is really starting to intrigue me more than ever, because I think what we have seen and we're hearing, and foreign interference in our elections, and then lies about who that foreign entity was. That there's just so many things that are really just driving me to I need more. I need to research this more. I need to know more about this.
And now we have we have so much available to us to research and look at things and listen to other people. And now is the time. And this might be why. Well, I think it is why. This is why there's such a force for this globalization to stop us, because we have so much information now, and we have so much. They don't want us to have all that. They want to control what we're learning, what we're hearing, what we're doing. And that's an interesting thing too. But we have the power as citizens of this country. We have the power, and we cannot forget that.
Yep, agreed. Yeah. Maureen, do you want to jump gears a little bit, or jump subject matters? Do you feel
lead the way, Dale? Yes, lead the way.
So what has been intriguing me, and this may seem very I don't know, soap opera-y in a way, or girly in a way, but I don't know why, but this whole Lindsay Clancy case has really just totally, I'm there every day for jury duty. We're following, Maureen and I are following this like crazy. We have a couple minutes this segment and one more to go. We can briefly talk about what's happened and what's going on, because I don't think on this show we've really discussed what our thoughts are on it. But I'm just very intrigued by what I think is going to be the cause of it. Not exactly who did it. That's not where I'm at yet. But just the failure of it all is really what I think is the sad sub-story to the actual story of the children being killed, is that the failure of everything and everybody around her, it feels like, with the exception of her parents and stuff like that. I get that. But the whole system, the whole psychiatric system and the medication system, and her husband, and So many things that are going on. Just tell everyone kind of your thoughts where we stand right now in this
Well,
trial.
I said that, I think, very early on when we were talking about it, that criminal justice system failed her, her medical, her psychiatric care, her husband. Interesting, yesterday it came out, one of her coworkers, who was a labor delivery nurse with her, testified that she was able to check on her phone at home when she was, and she would work nights.
Yes.
And there was one time then the baby was crying, and the baby was crying for 10 minutes, and she was calling Patrick and he didn't answer. So she called the police to do a welfare check on the house, because why is he not?
Yeah.
And then we didn't hear, like, did the police go there? Is there a report? There's got to be, if she made a phone call to the police, they've got to know this. They have to be able to go and find out what happened.
That's got to come up. There wasn't, that was interesting.
And this was before she even had the third baby.
Correct.
So again, Kevin Reddington is laying this footprint of like, they all testified she was an excellent mom. She was working. She, loved her kids. She was so worried that, what was that man doing?
Yeah.
It was sometime in the middle of the night. She's working and she's got the wherewithal to check her kids. Baby's crying for 10 minutes. You call home, nobody answers. You call, nobody answers. She called the police for a welfare check, make sure everybody was okay.
Yeah, I want to hear what happened after that. Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. I mean, it does tell me that it was middle of the night. It does tell me that maybe the excuse could be, I just didn't hear the phone or the baby. I was so tired. There's a lot of shit he can say. I'm not saying it's correct.
It leads,
when I look at the defense end of his side, maybe
it goes to her character, that she was very worried about those kids and was at work and was still looking at her phone, making sure that they were okay. And she called the police for a welfare check. That's going to her character of, she was worried about those kids.
Prior to being what I would consider to be,
and this was before she
medicated.
had
correct.
Well, long, and they're
long
also saying that this started happening in October. She was perfectly fine this summer before.
Yeah.
And then something changed in October.
That is interesting.
I just feel like he was microdosing her, and I feel like he was medicating her. And
he might have. We got 10 seconds. When we come back, I want to talk about the mother's testimony yesterday, because that was very, very touching and interesting to me. And then we'll complete it out. So we will be right back right after this.
Me, Joe the Box, the America First warehouse, most patriotic place in all the land. Hey, I'm here getting cleansed up. You know why? Because Sugar Creek Goods is a great place by patriots, making patriot soaps, making me smell nice. And that's what's nice. Who wants to go down the street and smell of somebody bad in New York City? Hey, by the way, what's this thing for?
250 years ago, a nation was born. Built on courage, driven by freedom, defined by patriots who stood their ground. Today, we don't just remember that legacy, we wear it. This is more than a shirt. It's a symbol of strength, freedom, and pride. I'm Steve Stern, COO of theflagshirt.com, and I invite you to celebrate 250 years of the United States with us. Wear your pride, stand for something, get your shirts today.
You know what is more disappointing than Gino Bisconte, everyone?
My sex life?
No, bad cell service. Let's make fun of Gino. Oh wait, he's here.
Well, speaking of the opposite of his sex life, these people have towers that are huge and they're everywhere. And while you're traveling, you can use these huge towers. PatriotMobile.com/it bends to the right. I don't have to tell you. TAFW. And then you can talk about me behind my back.
Patriotic people doing patriotic things.
Corporate transfer, fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Agara coffee. Why? Because it increases focus.
This is T-Mac, the Patriot, and I love Patriot products like Sugar Creek Goods. Check it out today on our website.
It's me, Joe the Box. And I'm John the Blanket with the America First podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome, everybody, to the James Justice Show, tearing these airwaves apart with all the craziness that goes on in the world.
Welcome to the Patriots podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Shane Jenkins here with another episode of Liberty's Cage.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Red, Right, and True.
We are streaming live on America First Media and Television app.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
The America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
And welcome back, everybody. This is 2G1C Red, White, and Blonde, right here on the America First Media and Television Network. Again, I am Dale, wonderful and talented co-host Maureen. Thank you for starting your Tuesday right here, the most patriotic venue on the land. What a show. What a good show it's been so far. And again, our thanks to Mel K. I'm going to do that before the end of this segment, and we can't wait to have her back. Please go follow her. Like Maureen said, we will have all of her socials and her contact information up on our socials. So share. Follow her on her Rumble channel. Amazing person, and doing the work to bring you that information that journalists should have been doing for years and years and years and years. So anyways, Maureen, Lindsay Clancy trial. We were talking about that before the end of the break yesterday. Red, we'll call him Reddington, the defense attorney.
Big Red. They're calling him Big Red.
Big Red. And if you don't know his story about how he got started as an attorney, it's great. But anyways, he brought up the mom, Lindsay's mom.
On the trial. He brought her up on the stand.
He brought her up on the stand yesterday. And boy, I know what, I mean,
awful.
It is just heartbreaking for her. Awful for her as well. And what they've sacrificed, Lindsay's mother and father, to be closer to Lindsay, to see her every day, to do that, also tells me a couple things. One, they know her best. They know her probably better than anybody else that's going to be on that jury stand. And I know and I feel that I would defend my children regardless, with the exception if I knew deep down that they did this, that they did, I couldn't defend you for this. You're great. I love you. I would miss you, but you have to pay for what you did. I don't think that's how they feel whatsoever. And I truly believe them. I think they're honest in their opinion that, wait a second, this isn't who she is. She did say at the end of that testimony that, yes, she did have concerns about hurting the children. There was a time there.
Well, there was a time that Lindsay said that to her
correct.
and Patrick.
Then
Patrick, in his testimony, said she never verbalized that.
Correct.
So I think that's why they might be bringing him. I don't know. I haven't seen anything confirmed, but
I know that's going on, I'm sure, right now. But
I heard he was going to be put on the stand today, and it could be because of that.
I agree.
Because they want that fresh in the jury's mind, and they would bring him on. So why was there a contradiction there? Why?
Yes.
Why did Patrick lie?
Yep. Yeah.
And say
why
that
did they?
She never said that.
Yep. I agree. There's been some contradiction and some sketch stuff with Patrick. There's zero doubt about this.
I'm concerned too with the Apple Watch.
Yep.
Stopped working at 5:23. From there on, there was no movement. Then he sent the email at 5:24, which they're able to say came from the service pro, the house, the laptop, and then came home at 6:09. I don't understand that. Explain that to me.
Did the Apple Watch start working again after that? I don't know that.
I don't think it did. And then they saw movement the next day when she was hospitalized in a coma, and Reddington questioned the forensic, the electronic expert. I think that they've got to get some better forensic electronic experts on.
Okay.
The ones they've been using are the ones they're prosecution experts.
Correct.
So hopefully,
I think Reddington will have one. I'm guessing probably.
I don't know. I think this could be huge. I want to see cell phone tower pings. I want to see, because they're saying Patrick Clancy had the Apple Watch with him.
Yeah. Oh,
going
okay.
going to CVS, going to the
Yep,
restaurant.
I guess they zoomed in on it too on the picture from him going to CVS. So
And
yeah.
and I think it's in testimony he didn't own an Apple Watch. He didn't
Can I
have
ask you a
one.
question that I heard going back to that? And this may be going back some, but him going into CVS and saying that he called Lindsay because they didn't have the medication but they did have the medication.
Yeah,
So
and was
there's a
he
contradiction
calling
there,
her and
right?
was he calling and using her Apple Watch to answer that phone?
Correct. Calling.
That's why we need the tower pings.
I know
The cell phone tower pings.
Geo
Like,
tracking.
where would-
They can put them right to where it was with geo tracking. I mean,
So
they caught many a criminal this way. So go on.
those are the things that I really want to see, because
I agree.
how, you know,
I agree.
so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's, I've heard people say that Reddington's not he's older. He may not understand technology. I don't buy that. He's got a team. He's got a team around him.
Yeah, his team is not all 75-year-olds.
Yes. And they're looking at all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting too. Kevin Reddington in 1989, he really made a name for himself. He got a lady. She was being horribly abused by her. I think it was her fiance, live-in boyfriend, and he was beating her and just horrible. And she killed him in his sleep. And he took that case on, and he actually was able to get Massachusetts law changed for women's abused rights. And so he really made a name for himself early on defending women. And I guess he's had several cases in his career where he's defending women. So it's kind of interesting. Like he knows what he's doing. He sees.
Oh, no, he's really, really good. He's very, again, every word he says is by design and methodical.
I love when he goes to the witness stand and he stands there and goes over with the witness, like this. And the other thing that he does is he really focuses on the jury. He turns to the jury, and from what I've been told, he makes eye contact with each juror.
Yeah.
And it's like he's speaking to the jury. He's making them feel like they're very important. Where the prosecution has none of that.
Oh my goodness.
They don't have any.
They're terrible. There's no connection.
They say a courtroom during a trial is theater. It's very theatrical, and they say that Kevin Reddington really knows how to use that, especially how he talks to the jury. He really focuses on making them feel included and making sure they understand. He doesn't talk down to them.
Nope.
But I love how he goes to the witness stand and, really one-on-one with that witness. And then if he has something, he brings it to them and says, okay, can you tell me what that says?
Yeah.
Can you tell me, instead of directing at them or talking down to them or,
correct.
It's just, he's very masterful at.
Yeah, it is. And he's doing a masterful job of it. And I think that's part of the intrigue for me is it's very rare in my experience of being able to even watch trials, right? Because not all of them are on TV and but it's very rare to see for me, the defense being presented in such a way that I literally, I'm always, I always think you're innocent until proven guilty. I've always been that. I've never been the guy that's like, nope, guilty, he did it. I don't care what news story.
Except for OJ. I never believed he was innocent.
No, I never did either. Once the evidence was coming and he starts running and all this other stuff, of course. And I'm like, well, in my mind, of course he's guilty. Anyway. But same thing with Casey Anthony. Guilty as hell. I don't get that one either. That's a different story. But ever since I was watching this trial, I'm like, he immediately made me feel like there's something much larger than she just did this, you know, and I know there is something larger than it could be just as simple as the medication. And I mean, simple as far as that could be the what caused her to do this, or it could be even something larger, like she didn't do it. So I'm both ways on this one.
It's interesting because I mentioned my daughter. She's fascinated with it. And my daughter is the least interested in news. She doesn't care about anyone or anything. She just, I don't know. And she is, I mean, it's kind of fun because now we have like this connection. She
This
sends
common
me
thing, yeah.
videos constantly, and then
Yeah.
she calls me. Did you see that?
Mm.
You know, and so what you were saying earlier, being intrigued by it, I'm thinking if my daughter is sucked in by this,
Yeah.
then there's something that
And I've
is
always loved courtroom
really,
drama movies. I've loved that books and court.
but it has
you know, but-
captured
Mhm.
the nation.
It has.
Where it, you
It
know,
has.
and I go to my daughter. If this captured her attention, this is something because
Yep.
it's a
Because that
major.
Makes sense. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, again, I go to truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, agreed.
You know,
Totally
it's-
agree.
This is something that is why the human psyche is so drawn to it because it's truth. It really happened.
It happened.
It's
Correct.
we're far more drawn to that because our brain is like, this is not made up. Like this
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
This is, and that's why real life crime and all of this is so popular because our human
is.
psyche is drawn to that.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Naturally.
This is
They're
an intriguing
natural.
case. It's absolutely it's got a nation divided. You've got you know she did it 100% or she didn't do it.
I don't know
100%.
if it's a
It's weird.
50-50 divide though.
I don't
wouldn't
know
say
if it
it's
is. I'm just saying when
50-50.
I'm looking online, there's a
Yeah,
bunch
no,
of people,
people
like,
are,
they're,
yeah.
they're
People have
divided somehow.
they have legitimate things they bring up
They
on
do.
both sides. And,
Yeah.
you know, we will see. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I agree. Maureen, we got a minute and a half left. You got something going on tonight that we want to talk about real quick. Let's do it.
yes. So tonight is the movie screening for You Are Here.
Yep.
We had Jack Kennedy on. He was the writer, producer, and star of the movie. He has a fabulous resume of Hollywood acting. Eileen Gruber is also, she's going to be there tonight. Eileen
Good.
Gruber is going to be there. And I've known her for years and never met her. So I'm very
Oh,
excited.
nice.
So I will be at the Alamo Theater in Stone Oak, which is right in San Antonio, very close to my house. The screening, it starts at 6:30. It goes until 9:30. I will be covering the event live for our network. And I will be on stage with the actors after the movie screening and doing the moderation. So if anyone has any questions they want to send me, send them over to me. Anybody has any questions about the movie or Jack or Dale, send me a question that you'd like asked tonight.
I would.
And
I'll send you one. I'll send you one because I do have
Yeah.
one. So that
So
we didn't get to
I've-
talk to Jack
I'm-
about or anything like that. I really want to know. Okay.
So send me a question. I'm very excited. I've never moderated a movie screening before.
I'm excited
but
for you. It's good.
I've done
Yeah.
tons of other things that I think I think I should be qualified. So I'm very
I
excited.
think
So
you will be.
tonight,
Yeah.
Stone Oak, Alamo Theater, I will be there with the stars of You Are Here. And I'm very excited. I got to go get all Hollywood up. I got to get makeup done and hair.
I know what you're gonna do. So tell Jack I said hi too as well because that was a great interview. If you haven't seen
I
it, it's
will.
we did.
I'm going to put
interview
my
him.
contacts in tonight. so.
Correct. Oh, you are. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So thank you, Maureen, for doing that as well. And good luck to you. And
Thank
very excited
you.
for you for doing that.
Thank
and
you.
we can't wait to see all the details and everything else that was involved.
We'll
in it.
talk about
Big,
that
big night.
tomorrow. We'll
Yep,
show.
we'll
We'll
talk about it tomorrow.
highlight that on our show tomorrow.
Okay, please. Yeah. And folks, so we have run out of time here today, but I want to thank
Great show.
personally Maureen. I want to thank Mel K again for coming on. That was the quickest 30 plus minutes I think I've ever spent. And I could literally listen to her for hours. I really learned a lot in that 30 minutes and I can't wait to learn more. Thank you for your contribution to it as well, Maureen. You were a little more in tune to it than certainly I was. So I thank you for that as well. I want to thank Bill, our producer. I want to thank Joe the Box, T, and everybody at the America First Media and Television Network and the America First Warehouse for this opportunity for us. We are grateful for it. This is a great network of great patriots and people who are America First, which is what we need in this nation right at this point. So,
Yep.
Maureen, thank you. Any last words before we leave?
Just thank everybody. Spread Mel K's message. Like I said, we have the power. We need to keep the power for ourselves. Get the word out there. And I will see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about my Hollywood experience.
Cannot wait. It's primary day here in Florida. I'm going to vote. Talk to you all soon. Thank you again, Maureen. And thank you, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We couldn't do it without you. Your support keeps us strong. Right where friends belong. America first. as one.